Hey guys, Jorge here. And in this video, I'd like to show you how easily you can switch your Wi-Fi Meadow application to using Meadow Cellular using the cellular network. And we're going to do this in our Wi-Fi weather application. So this is a Project Lab application that is communicating with a public web service that'll give me local forecast, and it'll show it here on a display. It gives me the outdoor temperature with a weather icon. I also have the time, and I have the indoor temperature from the atmospheric sensor in the Project Lab. So without further ado, let's just get to it. So the first thing that you will refer to is we have a cellular documentation here. So it'll give you a list of like the supported hardware that we're using right now, and we make sure it's tested. And for purposes of this demo, I'm going to use the Quectel BG95M3 with a NimbeLink Skywire clipboard. So as you saw before, the Project Lab has two microbus ports here. So if I here I have the Quectel BG95M3 clipboard, so you can see I have an antenna. Here is the modem, and underneath here I have my SD card, and here I have all the mail headers that are connected to the clipboard. So let's plug this in. Let me plug this. There we go. And the other thing I was going to mention is, let me go back to coding demo view. And the SIM card that I'm using in this case is the 6Fab SIM card for IoT projects. This is the one that I've been using, and it also gives you an overview of the supported countries and the pricing, and also the SIM features of what you need. The APN configuration, so we'll go into that right now. So let's now go back to Visual Studio, and here we have our Wi-Fi weather project. And the first step that we're going to do is we're going to add an app, a cell config file. So let's do right click here, add new item, cell config YAML, and then when we select it, make sure that we set this in the copy to output. Always copy of new, or copy always, whatever you prefer. And these are the configurations for the cellular that we're going to use. So let me grab those settings here in this case. So here I'm specifying a few things. I have the APN, which in this case of the SIM card is super, no password, no user credentials required. As I mentioned, this is the BG95M3 that I'm using. I'm using the interface, the TTYS0. This is like the serial interface that is connected to the microbus port. And I also have a turn on pin as well. That is to turn on and off the clipboard for the modem. And so that is one step. The next step that you need to do is we also need to go to the Meadow config app here. And there are a few things that we need to modify here. So one is we're no longer using the default interface Wi-Fi. We're going to use cell in this case. So we enter cell here. We also need to add is the reserved pins. And for the reserved pins are these right here. Let me copy this over. So these are used internally from the OS to connect to the cellular module, And for that, we need to specify the pins, but at the MCU level. So you will need to go inside the schematics of the project lab and to see which pins are connected from the microbus to the Meadow. And they're not the D0, D1 that are marked on the cell screen. They're only the internal ones, the MCU pins that are in the schematics. So in this case, is the B15, B14, A3. And all these schematics are also in the Project Lab repository if you want to take a look and to see how these are wired up. So automatically start the network, that's all good. And yes, I think that is off in that side. And I think that's pretty much it. The other step, let me go here through this. So you can see you add the cell config YAML, and here are all the different required and optional values here. But I already showed you that we didn't need to have a user password in the case of the 6FAB SIM card. And we also need to specify, yes, the default interface and the reserved pins. And then you can also handle, yes, you can also handle the connection if it's when it's connected or not connected. Here we're accessing the network adapters, iCell network adapter. And then you can also do events when a network is connected or disconnected. In the case for the Wi-Fi app, notice that I have is network adapters, iNetwork adapter, so that it also encompasses the iWi-Fi network adapter and the cell network adapter, so I don't need, it'll handle both cases, so I don't need to do any changes there about the distinguish between the both network adapters. So once you have all that connected, we can now plug in the device. And let's select the port and let's deploy this application again. So let's go over again what we needed to do. So I added a cell config YAML file here, specifying the APN configurations, what kind of module, modem or cellular module am I using, what kind of interface I'm also going to communicate with it, and it's important that you need to copy the output directory to copy if newer. So make sure that the config file makes its way to the Wi-Fi, to the Meadow device. And the other thing was also specifying here the reserved pins that are used for actually interfacing with with the cellular module, and change the default interface from Wi-Fi to cell. So now the application is running. Let's see. Oh, how's it doing? So the application is about to run. So you'll see that it is initializing the OS. It's finding the Meadow application. Now you can see that reserved pins are there. The interfaces using cell. Starting, it found the DNS server address. You can see the network connected event. You can also see my connection established successfully. So we are now connected cellular. We're no longer using Wi-Fi. Now it's going to move on running the other, initializing the rest of things on the project lab. There you go. Now it's going to start getting the forecast values. Again, as I mentioned, the connection might be slow where I'm located. I'm also in a concrete building, so it might take a while to get actual data. sometimes the connection also fails. So make sure when you try this, you'll try it when you're in close to a window or somewhere that it's kind of clear. You'll have a good you'll get good connectivity. There you have it. There we are showing the information gathered from the weather forecast using the Meadow Cellular. So that was it that I wanted to show you, and I'll see you in the next video. See you around.